Good morning. Welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Troy, and this is my guest today, Chris from Shiny Plastic People.
Hello.
Let's quickly pop into the chat. It feels really weird doing this with you because we talk so much that I don't have to do as much of the the banter you do with your guests in the beginning. So. Because we chat so much. Good morning, Thanos. I just watched your video a short time ago and nice collection of photos. So, good morning, Alex. Lovely to see you. Alex is making content now, and we're going to do a collab of things that we'll talk about later. But yeah. Not today, later, but later, so that Alex has time to get all of their ducks in a row. So, yeah. Good morning, Nolan. Lovely to see you. We have officially arrived.
We are here. Nolan's here.
Nolan's here. So everything we're doing is worthwhile now. Yeah, because we adore you, Nolan. Everyone in ToyTube that is in the know adores Nolan. And if they don't, F them. F them in the ear with the red hot poker and no KY. So yeah. And your daily reminder, Moby is trash. I'll go ahead and end the banner now. We'll bring that ticker back later, just because. So today, Chris graciously agreed to join me today, because I'm sure there are many other things you could be doing with your Sunday afternoon.
You know, you ever ask, I'm there. You should know that.
I know. I don't know. I'm just bitch shtick. But Chris is, originally I had sent some Total Justice coloring pages, which we will do at some point. But Chris got a Batgirl coloring book, which I also had. I've even obviously scanned some of the pages and printed them out on fancy paper because you know how I roll. I'm bougie. And snotty. And Chris picked this page, which is amazing. It's got Stephanie Brown, Batgirl versus Red Robin, Tim Drake. And then when they were Spoiler and Robin. But I also liked this one because I like all the Batgirls. But Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Batgirl. And I printed them both out because if I finish this one, I'm going to start this one. So, but Chris is going to start with, you're starting with Batgirl and Red Robin, correct?
Yes, that was my plan.
Perfect. All right. So you're going to get to see two different pages on stream, which is never a bad thing. Variety is the spice of life. And there have been so many Batgirls that it's cool that we're going to get. Oli, you're fine. Sorry, we have you may hear the kitten cry out.
Well, I just appreciate it because my dog was barking and I was feeling really bad about it.
Yeah, this kitten is needy. Matt is still in bed because he's lucky that way. And Oli is not getting enough attention. He is very spoiled, very needy. And we love that about him. He also does this thing where he pretends he's wounded. He'll cry like he's been hurt. And when the other cats go and check on him, he attacks their butt. So he may have been Tina Belcher in a previous life, is all I'm saying. Because he's really fascinated with butts. So anyway, if you hear him shrieking as though he's murdered, it's just him lying in wait to attack butts. So yeah.
Fair enough.
So yeah, anyway, guess we should get. Anyway, thanks, Oli. His middle name is Fernando after the song by ABBA, so it's almost my own fault. So anyway, Chris is going to be using the Amazon Basics colored premium 72 set, and I'm going to use that too. I've used this set previously when Kayla and Johnny came on, but I also used that on the Masters of the Universe Revelations book. And as Black Phoenix and I, who did a buddy color with that, can attest, paper is trash. So I'm gonna see how and I did all right. I kind of figured out how to work with the pencils and that paper. But I'm curious to see with my actual. I haven't used these on my fancy snotty bougie paper, so I'm curious to see how that works. So for the people who do watch these live streams for the art content side of it, and there are a few, I love you and appreciate you. You know, like I have the nice cross section of people who like the art stuff, people who like the toys and the comics, and the people who like it all. So, but for the people who are just interested in pencil stuff and the art side of it, we're gonna see how these Amazon basics work on Batgirl.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I picked up the set for like less than $11, so I was like, "Ooh, so many colors."
Yeah, this
That's a
is
low price.
well, it's a nice budget set. You got 72 colors. They're all here. Like, and for most people, the stuff that you know, when you're doing sort of the more arty stuff with it, there are a lot of things about this that uh, you know, like aren't as exciting. But if you're just coloring for yourself, these are fine. And I got mine for I think 15 to 17 bucks. So, but because they are Amazon Basics, they go on sale pretty often. So, also wait, this is where I have to show. And if you're interested in picking up a set of these, there is a link in the description to Amazon, and I am an Amazon associate, so I get a small commission anytime you buy anything through those links. All right, shilling done. Let's color.
You know, I have to say, in the last year, my opinion of the word "chill" has changed so much.
Yeah,
Just because it's so thrown around that I kind of just like having fun with it now.
yeah. You know, like I kind of obviously like. I mean, I'm on YouTube, so it's not like I'm not creating art like starving. Well, you know, we'll see. We'll see where we end up in the year, whether or not I'm starving. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just like especially when people throw it around who are watching content on YouTube. It's like you're on YouTube. The entire process of YouTube is a little bit chilling. So, but that also takes a little bit of self-awareness, I would say. So there are a lot of people in this world who don't have self-awareness.
By the way, congrats on crossing that 500 subscriber threshold.
Thank you. I'm as of this morning, I'm at 505, so I feel far more confident. It's sort of like that thing whenever not that I have had babies, but or will have them because you know I'm at an age where it's not possible. Um, but you know you don't talk about the pregnancy until you hit a certain part, you know, a certain stage of it, like a couple of
Right.
weeks, a couple months, whatever. And I've kind of been feeling that way about hitting 500 because I tend to lose 2 or 3 subscribers every. I'll lose a few on Sunday when I post my Barbie video of the week. Because people are like, what the hell is this Barbie stuff? And then I'll lose a couple of people through the week who I got through the Barbie video, and they're like, what is all of this He-Man and She-Ra crap? So I've reached a point where it's been consistently like 503 to 505 subscribers. So I feel better about saying thank you. Like it's exciting. I have 500 subscribers now, and now 20 people will unsubscribe because I'm using these Amazon pencils.
Sure. You know, when I started, which is shockingly somehow 2 years ago, I didn't think I would have 10 subscribers. So
Yeah.
anybody tuning in is always amazing and shocking.
Yeah, it was, you know, when I started, I was, you know, because I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm not in this sort of strange little corner of, I'm not quite color tube, I'm not quite toy tube, not quite comic book tube, and it's like I kind of do a little bit of everything, you know, and sort of all of the stuff you hear about sort of YouTube. They tell you find your niche and stick to it, and don't do stuff unless it's all the same stuff. You'll confuse the algorithm. And so far, I've been pretty fortunate to do all the sort of stuff I'm doing. And not, and I haven't lost a lot of, I joke about it, but, I don't lose that. I mean, 2 or 3 a week, and then I get 2 or 3 more. So it evens out, and it's always a little bit more than what I lose. And what I do notice is I lose people when I post a Barbie short, and I lose people when I post Motu stuff. Which is fine because, I mean, not that I'm excited to lose a subscriber, but I kind of like that people are like, oh, maybe she's not for me, and then they go. That's much better than them leaving and sort of with the shitty comment of like, oh my god, what the hell is this shit?
It's hilarious when somebody leaves a shitty comment that's just like, look at this old man playing with his toys. Like,
Oh
bro, you found me. How did you find me?
Yeah, right. The algorithm sends you to me for a reason. So, okay, just somebody was pinging me on Discord, and I just want to make sure it wasn't important. It was not. Let's check the chat really quick because I've been yapping and not checking. Oh yeah, my cats are completely spoiled. Like, good morning, Rolando. It's nice to see you today. Thank you. Yeah, this is a two-parter. Congrats, Allison, on the channel. And exactly, like, I like being the weird aunt. So, good morning, Brennan. Lovely to see you. I hope you're doing well today. Thanks for coming to hang out. See, I haven't even gotten a comment yet. They just quietly slink out. I feel like it's because I make such fun and wholesome content that they... I'm joking. They feel ashamed to say, this is not for me. It's funny. I post, I get that. It's funny. I shouldn't keep talking about the Barbie stuff because I like doing the Barbie stuff. Surprisingly to myself, actually. I only had planned originally I was going to do a couple because I was going to do some Gem and the Holograms, and we all sort of know that story about how Mattel sort of to tank Gem and the Holograms and not lose their hold on the pink aisle, how they sort of rushed out Barbie and the Rockers.
Right.
So I picked up a Barbie and the Rockers coloring book, and I printed out a few pages I thought would be fun. I posted the first one the weekend the Barbie movie hit, and I hadn't quite conceptualized how that would work as far as the algorithm. And Kayla and Johnny had invited me on to geek the F out. I loved the Barbie movie. I went and saw it that weekend, loved it. Had the short ready to go without actually planning it to work that way. Posted it like the Sunday that I was going to go on Geek the F out. And got a lot of views. And so, of course, you get a lot of views, and you're like, well, let me try some more Barbie. And I did. And in doing sort of the research so that because I don't just, especially when it's not a property I'm super familiar with, I don't just color it whatever color I want. I try to stick to actual colors. Like for She-Ra, I stick to toy colors. But
I will full admit I had to look up Spoiler's costume colors just to make sure, because in my head it was just like, I think it's this way.
Yeah, so I tried to pick, like the decision where there are multiple colors, because every character has a fan. Every character is somebody's favorite character, and I've been finding that I've been posting all these Golden Girl pages, and there are a lot of people who really love Golden Girl, and which, since we don't hear a lot about it, of almost forgotten 80s toy line. it's been cool that people are like, oh my God, I love these toys. They're my favorites. And to get those sort of comments. But it also makes me glad that I'm taking the time to figure out what the costumes should look like, and the art doesn't quite line up with the toys, so I've had to make a few artistic choices, but you know, I try to aim for something that people recognize. So for that reason, I had to do a lot of Barbie and the Rockers research and just a lot of Barbie research. And I spent many, many years thinking Barbie was sort of the worst, and have reevaluated. Um, which is kind of cool when you do that. You realize you're not maybe as old and set in your ways as you think. So anyway, that's my Barbie story. But we are coloring Batgirl stuff, so we should talk Batgirl.
It's all right. There was a Barbie Batgirl. There's
I
our
have a
segue.
Barbie. The first Barbies I ever bought was that Batgirl, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl Barbie set. And they weren't a set, but they all came out in the same wave. And they hit the stores right when I got my income tax that year.
Well, and that's such a valuable set now.
Yeah. Those are in storage. Again, this is why you know, like we've been in the same place for a while because we've been sort of planning and saving to buy something. And literally as we look at stuff, I always sort of, you know, I'm like, well, this would be a great room for my art studio / toy room. So, because I want to display all that stuff. It makes me sad that the Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and Batgirl Barbie are sort of stored in storage. And I've got all of my Terry Dodson DC Direct. Wonder Woman figures are in there. The Donna Troy, the Diana Prince, the Cersei. It's one of the best Wonder Woman figures that DC Direct did. That Diana Prince figure, Faya. I've got a couple Babs in there from the years, and I've got the Alex Ross Supergirl and her hot pants. And then, of course, the Screaming Golden Chicken Wonder Woman Alex Ross figure is in there. So, I need to... I'll be glad, sort of, as we start the process of deciding, like, yeah, we should buy a house. Planning something where I can display everything. I am in the process of getting everything organized here, and hope to have that done in a couple weeks so that I can do an actual room tour. Have you done a room tour video? Like,
I have not, because my room is always a nightmare.
Yeah.
It is never organized, and I can't bring myself to show people that.
I just, from what I can see of it on camera when you show it, you have like obviously a pretty impressive DC collection. So it would be cool to see more of that. So even if you don't do the full room, maybe just a shelf tour.
Well, I will tell you, the DC toys do live exclusively behind me.
Yeah.
And, then I've got shelves for Masters of the Universe. I've got my Power Ranger Turtle shelves. I've got a big wrestling area. And then I've got too many Star Wars toys to put anywhere.
Right. Yeah, I've got so much Star Wars in storage. Well, I mean, I've been collecting since 1978. And I don't throw things away. I've never given any Star Wars. I mean, like, there was one point where I did a calling where if I had more than 3 of a figure, I put it in a box and then I gave it to my friend for her son.
That's really a cool thing to do.
Yeah, he got a lot of Princess Leia's, but it was fine. Well, I shouldn't say they are gender neutral these days. So.
Oh, okay.
So I need to correct. I haven't spoken to them in it's been, I want to say it's been about 5 years because, your friends' kids graduate high school, go off to college out of state, and
No matter how hard we try to be like good about those things, it takes time and practice. I mean,
it takes being around
yeah.
people, I think, to adjust that. So, but they are very happy. They live. They did not the Peace Corps, but they did something like the Peace Corps for a while, where they went around within the United States, and helped clean up and rebuild stuff. And they are quite the do-gooder. It makes me look back at my late teens and early 20s when I worked at Blockbuster and was subsiding on like hurricanes and margaritas and delivery Chinese, because they would bring you drinks when they would deliver. Working at Blockbuster, dancing, dating all of the Carls, and I feel very like, wow, these kids, you know, they are out there like making the world better, and I was just busy buying Star Wars books and toys and drinking and eating and dating terrible men. Well, not even men, but boys.
Well, I have to admit, when they announced like Kim Drake as being bisexual, there was a good 24 hours where I was like, not my Tim
Right?
Drake. But then, I had to take a moment to go like, wait, I like Tim Drake because I could see myself as a kid in Tim
Yeah.
Drake. So him being bisexual, if that helps someone out there see themselves in a
It's
comic book.
always, yeah, like, and it was weird to me when people reacted that way, because it's like, I don't know. It just was weird to me that people reacted. So it's like when people get mad about the Iceman thing. It's like, but you've all been complaining for decades that Iceman doesn't have enough personality and they've never done anything interesting with him. And now somebody has found something that makes sense canonically. Like if you go back and reread them now with the sort of lens that he's sort of closeted, like those stories read differently, yeah, but at the same time, nothing about it doesn't make sense. Like it works.
Well,
And I find him much more interesting now that he has a point of view. Like that's, I think, the problem with Iceman. He didn't really have a point of view before.
and I
So
know writers have talked about queer coding Tim Drake for years, and I couldn't see it because, I saw things only through the lens of my like cis white male existence.
yeah, I mean, during the death of after Superboy died in Infinite Crisis, there were definitely some times where it, for me, pinged a little bit, especially in the way he and Cassie, Sandsmark, the former Wonder Girl, yet another limbo Wonder Girl, but the way they would interact really felt like, and I know there was some briefly a very sort of ill-conceived romance between the two of them in the aftermath of that, but it also more to me came across as like, you know, sort of when I've made friends with a few of the Carl's ex-wives, ex-girlfriends. Like there's that point where like you're able to like commit, like the two of you find this sort of common ground and this sort of jubilation that you're both free of a loser, and you become friends. And sometimes you still talk to those people 30, 40 years later. It can't be 40. I would have been dating. I did not start dating that young, but you know, from the 90s. The 90s weren't 40 years ago yet,
Yeah.
but it's funny though, because I also I don't get sort of the oh gosh, Tim Drake bisexual, how could they? I do sort of I have that moment a lot when, like whenever the second Cassandra Cain became Batgirl, I remember having a really intense reaction to that, not because, oh my gosh, they've made Batgirl Asian, or there's a new it was just because for me Batgirl was Babs and they had done her dirty.
Right.
you know, like thanks, Alan Moore.
In what was supposed to be basically an Elseworlds tale, that
Yeah,
they just decided, like, ah, no, we're gonna
they're
run.
like, yeah, let's make all this gross stuff happen, and then you've got Bruce Timm decades later, like, let's make it even more gross. God dang it, Bruce. Anyway, um, but I had that moment at first where I wasn't really happy with it. And then the new 52, they gave us Babs back as Batgirl. And I did have that moment where I felt really, by the time we got Stephanie as Batgirl, though, I had kind of come to like the idea of Oracle and,
Well, is it that funny? Like, you're like, oh, the thing I wanted, I got, but now I'm kind of mad about it.
yeah, I felt really, well, I felt ambivalent about it because one, it did undo sort of the nonsense of what Alan Moore did, but also because then we had decades of Babs being really good representation for the disabled community. Like, I mean, there are a few moments where, you know, like, you can maybe argue that she's falling into a trope of the overly capable, you know, like super capable disabled person. But at the same time, there was nothing different about her characterization from before because she had the photographic memory, like she had all of those skills before. So it was, you know, it wasn't quite the same as if she had arrived in a wheelchair and was super capable of them falling into that trope.
Right.
Um,
Well, and there's been plenty of stories of, the Bat family, like, specifically like Dick Grayson coming and helping her, like,
yeah,
adapt to her new life. That
yeah. So I felt like they did really well with it for it to not be the trope. So I had, you know, so my mixed feelings were not, oh, we're getting her back. It was more of the, we're removing sort of this character that has come to mean a lot to a certain community. You know, and it's a mixed bag because, you know, it was sort of a women in refrigerators moment that put her in the wheelchair, but it was really well done how they turned it around and made her basically Chuck Dixon, like, and you know, like he and I disagree on quite a few things, um, but he, you know, I feel like he did really pretty good with the Batgirl, Oracle, Birds of Prey stuff. Like he also helped, in my opinion, redeem Black Canary a lot because before Birds of Prey, she had really fallen into Green Arrow's ex-girlfriend sort of trope and was just not well. I mean, she kind of it's not like you know, when she arrived in the 60s, Black Canary sort of you know, was, oh, we need a girl to replace Wonder Woman since Wonder Woman doesn't have superpowers. Let's bring in Black Canary, who has no superpowers either, and now we'll give her a weird superpower. And then 20 years later, Marv Wolfman and other writers would decide we need to fix her. Let's make her her own daughter.
right.
Ugh. Anyway. Also, since we're dropping comic hot takes, I really liked her 80s costume.
You know, I'm only briefly familiar with it. I was real young in the '80s, so I don't have any particular attachment to it.
I've been sitting on a short for almost a year now of from John Byrne, his art of her in that costume from Legends. I went in and basically photoshopped everything out so it's just her like kicking somebody and like colored that. And every so often I go to post it, like, I don't know. Like I've got a couple like that that have just been sitting for months and months. That I should probably post because I posted one of those yesterday. I posted the Lookie from Princess of Power and it got like 340 views. And it was one where I'm like, they're not going to show this to anyone. And they did. They showed it to people. So I got 2 subscribers from it. So here, you know, maybe it's time to. It's just with the Black Canary one, it's harder to sort of. There aren't as many action figures of Black Canary. Thanks, Todd.
Oh, Todd.
Oh, Todd.
You know, so my channel is largely Todd content.
I
I
know.
understand it. And
You're
it's
the
just
Todd.
like, oh, I've hitched my wagon to an unfortunate.
I don't know. It cracks. I mean, like I enjoy going in always and just I've you've noticed obviously because you replied to them and liked them, but I like going in and making comments about NFTs on your shorts about Todd because it just cracks me up. Like the fact that well, he's not calling them NFTs, but it's basically NFT action figures. It just
Right.
cracks me up. The whole concept of it. It's so Todd though. Like it's really just so like you hear it and you're like, that's ridiculous. But then you're like, but it is Todd McFarlane, so
Right. And you know, like NFTs are dumb. But I've said it. He's at least doing some kind of neat stuff with it.
yeah, he's trying.
Like rewarding the collectors who have them is something I really appreciate.
Trying to make fetch happen, and I love that for him. Good morning, Christina, Toy Mama. Lovely to see you today. Tony's Figs as well. Nice to see you. He's coloring and chatting about Todd McFarlane and comic books and characters and bisexuality. So it's got all the things. Here we go. So I've got my purple background. This is, I think, my paper, but I'm getting a very sort of beveled look to this, which kind of works for the background. So I'm not necessarily complaining, but I'm glad I started with it so I know that it does this so I can sort of adjust when it's time to start coloring the people.
But yeah, I was sad to lose Stephanie in the Batgirl role because it was a very like redemption arc for Stephanie.
Yeah, no, it was, and that was a good comic. Like I really liked that Batgirl run. It was really good, I thought. I also liked how in that run they were, Babs obviously was Barbara was in it. And I also liked how they were using that using the book and sort of her relationship in it with Stephanie to sort of redeem the Babs and Batgirl, like sort of work that out because even though she'd been doing really well as Oracle all those years, there was always that weird dynamic writers wanted to create with her and Batgirl that always felt a little off to me. And Gail Simone largely just ignored it because Gail Simone was so busy sort of building Birds of Prey out. I mean, like, I love Gail Simone. She's a great, I'm not saying that, like, she did something wrong. She just realized that there was way more to Birds of Prey than just Barbara Gordon used to be Batgirl and really leaned into that and created really fun comic. Like, I miss Gail Simone on Birds of Prey. So, anyway.
And you know what? Justice for the Barbara Gordon Ted Ford relationship.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and as a Tim Drake fanboy, I really liked Ted trying to woo Tim into the mantle of Blue Beetle.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, I don't know. In general, like, I think killing Ted Cord was stupid. I don't like in general when they kill characters. I don't think it works.
You know, that was rough, but boy, that was such a good comic.
It was, but I also am not a fan of anytime Wonder Woman has to snap someone's neck. Like,
right.
I'm not a fan of that take on Wonder Woman. Like, I get it, and in the moment, like that is the only. But in general, I think there are a lot of people with Wonder Woman who want to lean into the she could kill you, she's a warrior, and not enough of them get. And it tends to be male writers, and I'm not saying this to sort of bag on men writers, But I think men, of course, are attracted to the sort of that dichotomy of like this beautiful, gorgeous woman who will kill you but loves peace. It just, I don't know. And also all of the, I'll have you on and we'll color Wonder Woman sometime so that I can go off on
Well, I just got my Wonder Woman coloring book.
Jeff
So.
Johns.
Jeff is such a tough nut because, like, his later day stuff is not great.
Pretty much anything after Infinite Crisis you can just ignore. Like,
but I stand by his Booster Gold stuff.
His Booster Gold stuff is pretty good, but
which was post Infinite.
It was, but it was sort of linked to Infinite Crisis because
right.
it was sort of all about, I don't know. Like, his whole thing, men don't relate to Wonder Woman because she doesn't have a real dad. She's a clay golem who, it's like, so we made Zeus her dad. It's like, you're missing the entire effing point of what this character is supposed to be. That's part of the concept is sort of this woman not, in the storytelling we get since Zeus is her dad, there's so much of this angstiness about, oh my gosh, I'm the goddess of thunder or whatever they were saying she was the goddess of. It's like, just let Wonder Woman be Wonder Woman. Like, what a big part of what made her appealing in the beginning, back in the Golden Age, was despite her being formed from clay, which, Marston and Olive and Mrs. Marston, I forget, was it Elizabeth? I forget the name of Marston's wife, which is bad. I shouldn't, but sort of when they were putting the character together, the whole point was a little female chauvinism, a little bit, which is not super cool. But the point of her not having quote unquote a father was that what would you get from sort of a woman raised by women without men and without sort of like a father to, instead of turning her into some sort of femme fatale evil person, like, but other than the clay thing, Wonder Woman didn't have any, in the Golden Age anyway, she didn't have any abilities that any woman didn't have or any man didn't have. It was just through the training of the Amazon, through discipline, through loving submission, she was able to obtain. She was able to obtain all these. Any Amazon could be as strong as and as powerful as Wonder Woman back in the Golden Age. Any human woman, mortal woman from the patriarchy, could be that, and I kind of miss that. Although I do like that Perez really powered her up, and I approve of empowering her up. I do feel like, but Perez also got the character enough with that power up, he was able to balance it out with other character traits that people don't get in the modern age. And I think, ironic, comes back to Gail Simone, as all good things do. I think Gail Simone got that dichotomy, that, like sort of, yes, like Wonder Woman can pick up a tank and throw it at you, and she can hold her own against Superman, but at the same time, that's not her first instinct. And I do get that, like when she snapped Maxwell Lord's neck, that was, as he pointed out, I'll just be able to do it again. And that was, risk assessment. She's like, well, I have to sort of do this to protect the world. But I don't know. I liked how they resolved, like despite the flaws of Wonder Woman 1984, I do like that it resolved without her snapping his neck. So
sure. And I didn't mind Wonder Woman 84. It was fine. The problem is it was the sequel to arguably the only good DCEU movie at that point.
The real problem, in my opinion, with Wonder Woman 1984 was they tried to make it a superhero movie, and with the first one, they didn't try to make a superhero movie. They made a Wonder Woman movie. So.
Well, and I think that's where like the MCU movies have been so successful is when they're like, oh, well, this just happens to be a spy like thriller with superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah,
As
Wonder Woman
opposed to
84 could have, and like they say, it was good, but it could have been better. Good morning, Brick. Lovely to see you. Good morning, rock star yourself. Oh, PlayStation 4. And I will mirror this. The one time I got to meet Jeff Johns at like a signing, he was very nice and very approachable. And this was at a point where he was sort of like the god of comics. And he has done some epic stuff with Green Lantern. I do wish he would cover Carol Ferris's ass a little bit more. But other than that, I don't understand why Carol Ferris has to have her butt flossed to be Star Sapphire, but
you know, his main partner in that was Ethan Van Sciver, and well, we know how that went.
I've never heard of him. Is he
Oh,
dead?
well, no, he's a big part of Comicsgate.
Never heard of that either.
Oh, well, it was basically, you know, women don't have a place in comic books.
Oh, that doesn't. I can't believe there is any such people like that. That sounds impossible. I'm being a little facetious.
Right, but that was his big thing, and
yeah,
I mean that came out later, you know, that stuff.
Ethan.
But
I mean, he's a great artist. He's done some really good art. It's too bad about his personality. But yeah, no, that probably is a lot of him. But at the same time, he's a great artist. It's a shame. Again, it's a shame that he's like he is. But the whole Comicsgate thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're unhappy, it makes sense. So. Good morning, Aaron. Lovely to see you. Aaron and I did a pre-record a few months ago, back in December, coloring some Mythic Legions fan art. And that episode of Retro Toy Princess Color with a Friend will be airing in the next few weeks. So I need to be spending this week actually locking in. I've got a couple pre-records so I can take some time off this month, because I have been feeling the burnout. So,
yeah, I understand. I burn out easy, which is why I have less than 100 videos in 2 years.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny. I don't burn out easy, and this is why I have why the shorts are such a big part of my, and why the color and chill stuff is happening, because that stuff is easy for me to do. It's easy for me to set everything, especially now that I have my lovely little drafting table stuff, and getting all of that set up. Now that I have sort of a dedicated space to record that, anything where I don't have to have a script and I don't have to talk and I have to do minimal editing is easy for me, and I love doing it. But once I have to have a script, I have to do like, I've got one that will be a video that will be hitting in a few weeks, like a week and a half, 2 weeks, for a strawberry shortcake video where I just recorded like myself talking, and I was listening to it, and I had a cold, so of course my voice reflected that. There were some sniffles, and it was really hard to like not sort of go in and do micro edits to like remove every sniffle. I was just like, it's a YouTube channel. I'm doing a flip through of a coloring book. If the sniffles upset somebody, then they can comment, and that will help engagement. So,
But I will admit, I'm having so much fun right now just doing shorts.
I like I've been having fun watching your shorts. And you get me like I watch them 5 or 6 times in a row because of the way you loop them so that it's like you don't realize it's over. It's like I wish I could figure out a way to do that with what I do because
It's the only thing I plan when I start recording those is my first line and my last line.
nice.
And
I
I
like
just
them though.
let it happen.
And you have been showing up in my you know, like when I log into YouTube, your videos keep showing up for me. So obviously the algorithm likes that I have liked them and it's making sure I get plenty of them. But they're fun. Like I don't know. Like and that's the one thing I will say about shorts is I try to do ones that I think are fun. So that I enjoy watching them. There are a couple I hate and don't rewatch. And 1 or 2 of them have really good views, and I'm like, that's really sad. But I don't
Well,
know.
when I first started doing this like reign of shorts, they were getting views like crazy, and that has quickly fallen off. But that's okay. I like doing them.
No, Aaron, just take your time. It's like a hard time sometimes, and just take your time. We'll be fine. So, and also, you know how to get in touch with me if you need to talk. Let me know. But
Honestly, Aaron, things happen, and we will. I think I can say we here. We'll always be a
yep,
sounding board for you, man.
yep. Whether you actually want to make videos again or not, or do live streams or whatever, like I'm your friend. Message me if you need to. No pressure. I mean, like I'm not gonna be mad that you don't. But it's there. Let me know if you want to talk or just need to, even if you just need to send a bunch of messages to somebody to read them and hear them. Feel free to put at the end, I don't need a response. Please don't respond. Just needed to say it, whatever. I'm cool. So, yeah. So I just, whatever you need, sir. We're here for you. We're your friends. We are your community. So, and as far as getting back on live streams or whatever, if it doesn't work for you to do those again, I'm sad because I enjoy what you were doing and I would enjoy to watch it again, but I don't, your well-being and mental health is much better and much more important than me having some videos to watch. So thank you, Brick. I try. I think and some people expect shorts are going to build their channel, and they can, but I don't know that there is an art to it, I've noticed, and there's an ebb and flow with it. Like I'll go through periods where like YouTube just loves my shorts, shows it to everybody that is going to love them and they do well. And then sometimes it's like I can't get arrested by YouTube with the short. So YouTube and for no discernible reason, it'll be stuff that like a character that they show. It'll be a great. There was one time that they nuked a really good page where it's like they showed it to 17 people. No reason I could tell why. So I deleted that one and waited about a week and posted it again, and then it got 500 views. So sometimes the algorithm is just not your friend.
To this day, I will say the very first short. No, okay, nope. Second short I ever did. I did because Zach Kinsella over at Zach Kinsella art. And, I'm trying to remember his toy art. Was talking about like, oh, Fridays is instant gold for shorts. I'm like, well, I want in on that.
Yeah, right.
So I tried to quickly like mock up the Batman teaser with my Darkwing Duck action figure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, You know what? It may not be great, but I love that short.
Right? Well, people will say, "Oh, Fridays are like the day or Sunday or whatever," and that there is nothing like that. I mean, like obviously more people are on their phones on Fridays, on the weekend, especially Friday, because it's like even if you have to work, you're ready for the workday to be done. So you're gonna start, you're on your phone probably too much. I like one of my biggest I can't call it viral, but like my biggest video was an Incredible Hulk video I dropped on Friday. So I'm like, oh, obviously Fridays are the day. And next couple of Fridays, like they showed it to a lot of people. People just weren't having it, and it was obviously not Incredible Hulk, but it was content that was doing well otherwise. And then on Wednesday, a few weeks later, a Star Wars short took off and got thousands and thousands of views, and it's a Wednesday, like. So I was just like, I'm gonna stop worrying about little things like that. I'm gonna concentrate on just being consistent. Um, it helps to pair the right song with it, with your short, if for the type of content I do. Um, but even with what you do, like it's a little different. So they're not the same rules. But if you're using music in your shorts, picking the right song sometimes makes a world of difference. Anytime I use a Daft Punk, I'm going to get at least 500 views.
There's gold in there, robot Frenchman.
I used Daft Punk on a Faker short from Motu, and I was like, Faker, whatever, because like my average Motu short, I'm lucky to get 100 views on it. And I stuck it on Faker, and it got like 300 views the first day, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, that's good for Motu. And then that weekend, it got another 600 views. It's at like almost 3,000 views now. Because every couple of weeks, it just pops back up and starts getting more views. So if you're making shorts that use music, Daft Punk is your friend. And I kind of like that narrative because they are amazing. So. Uh, 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 uh. Oh, cool. Thank you, Alex. That's good to know. Yeah. Yeah. Like, also, for me, that's a little bit of it. I have consistency with them. Like, I have a schedule. It's helped with creating. Um, I'm not going to be doing daily shorts every day much longer because, a lot of the other content I want to make is not happening. But I've got daily shorts through the end of May, and then I'm going to do some experimental shorts in June. And July will mark the 1 year anniversary of when I started making actual content on the platform. So I'm not going to talk about it much now. I'm going to talk about that closer to, but I'm going to be doing some interesting things with shorts starting in July. So I'm calling it Retro Toy Princess Season 2. So it'll be fun though. But I also have all these shorts, and the nice thing about having all of those shorts is more. The other day, I got somebody who subscribed to me through a Gem in the Hologram video, and then I watched as all of my Gem in the Hologram videos got views. All of them, one that was pretty old from like last fall. And then all of the Barbie and the Rockers videos got views, and like I just watched as this person who subscribed went through and watched all of these shorts that I've had for months and months, which was my original goal. Like I wanted a backlog of content, so when people found me, they had stuff to watch. Because that's what I noticed during the pandemic when we were on lockdown. When I would subscribe to a channel or like start liking a channel, there was content for me to like binge on. To determine how much I really liked that person and whether or not I should subscribe to them. And so I was like, that needs to be a goal so that if people find my stuff, they like my stuff, there's plenty of stuff for them to watch. And it's starting to bear fruit, I've noticed. So that is my one piece of advice to people wanting to do YouTube. Sort of know that unless something goes super well, you're not going to have a huge platform the first year and a half. But if you're building up some content for people to watch, once your content starts hitting, you've got plenty for them to dig into. Yeah, so that's sort of one of the things I've gone back and forth on is whether or not these will, like what happens if YouTube goes away, which is why I do have a hard drive that I save all of my completed videos to, so that I'll always have them in some capacity. But
I am happy to say that regardless of my subscriber count, I've gotten exactly what I wanted out of YouTube, which was a community I could connect with.
Yeah, and that's, I think, a big part of what I don't know, helps. There are some days where I get really depressed about it. Not like because I'm not doing it, just because I don't know. I think some of it is the grind that I've been doing, where it's like I'm working too much in all the capacities of all of my lives, which is why I'm about to take a few weeks off. But have content for those weeks I'm off. But I do like that. I do have friends. Obviously, a couple of them are in chat right now that I consider real friends. That even if I stopped making videos, I would still chat with and still be in contact with, because it's cool. Like, it's cool to find a community of people that are nerdy in a way that is compatible with your nerdery. Which has not always been my experience. Whenever I was way more into comic books, you would find other comic book nerds, but they weren't quite the same shade of nerd.
I've recently disconnected from some communities because of that. It was kind of a rude wake up.
Yeah.
For me to be like, whoa, I thought we were all the underdogs who came together. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, right. I'm interested in being a Goonie where we're having to save the docs from the developers. I'm not interested in being one of the developers. Tell me that part about NFT again, Todd.
The fungible.
Yeah. Anything that sounds like fungus is probably not good. So, just saying.
And I can say that I've seen the Goonie house. We've been to the Goonie house.
I have too. I've seen it a couple times. It's not. I say not far. It's not. It's not far by boat.
Well, okay. I drove up from where roughly you are to go see it.
Yeah. There's a when I lived in Portland proper, like actual, like sort of downtown areas. There's a power boat. Like, it's a big power. It's not like a little tiny power boat. It's like a bigger one for tours, where you can go to Astoria for the day. And I would go with a friend, for birthdays, or just like, oh, we both got the day off. Let's get the F out of the city. And we would go to Astoria and tour out. There are museums there. There's more than just the green. There's a great soft serve ice cream place in downtown Astoria that's not far from where the boat drops you off. So there were a couple of days where it's like, what are you doing? I don't know. Let's take the power boat to Astoria, get some soft serve and fish and chips. And that was the whole trip, like literally. And you can pretty much see the Goonies house from most parts of Astoria.
Yeah, we drove up from Beaverton through Seaside, and then
I used to live in Beaverton. In Beaverton, where the 80s live forever.
So we were there during a snowstorm, and everything was closed because there was a whole 2 inches of ice, and They don't know what to do. Or us, no. So, but the only thing that was open was laser tag in Beaverton.
That's very Beaverton. Yeah, I lived out. When I first moved to the Pacific Northwest, I lived in Beaverton, and the first real snowstorm we had, where there were like where things legitimately were shut down because like the buses were getting stuck in the snow, um, and I was sort of snowed into my apartment, and laser tag. I don't know if it was open. I would, like it was the laser tag in Beaverton is a little bit too far from where I live for me to walk there during the snow, and I didn't have a car at the time. Part of the reason I had moved to the Pacific Northwest was because you don't need a vehicle here. Um, but obviously the grocery stores were open, and the we used to call it the greasy Chinese place because everything like you got there like came with like a pound of like grease in the bottom of it, and they were open, but they also had like a bar in there and karaoke. And so like the third or fourth day where I couldn't get to work because none of the buses were running, I staggered across, the apartment complex parking lot and went to the karaoke place. And it was because many people were in the same boat as I was, where it was like they'd been stuck inside for days and just needed somewhere to go. It was quite the hodgepodge of people. So it's probably one of the most fun times I've ever had at karaoke, though, just because it wasn't your usual, your usual karaoke crowd is like drunk people singing badly. This was like people who have been stuck inside with cabin fever, who've had too much to drink and too much greasy food and can't sing. It was a good time, though. It felt like a scene from, those movies where like seven desperate strangers stuck together during the end of the world. It was like one of those. I did Dixie Chicks Goodbye Earl. And Juice Newton, Angel of the Morning, and then I went home with the guy that I met there. Well, he came home with me because his house was farther and I wasn't going to go that far in the snow. But that was a wild time. And the fact that he would let himself be picked up by somebody who was doing Goodbye Earl shows at least bravery on his part. Like that's like great. That's like going home with Patrick Bateman or something. If you think about it, like the potential that you're gonna get stabbed goes up a lot whenever you pick up the lady who just did Goodbye Earl at the greasy.
Now, to be fair, Earl deserved it.
Yeah, Earl had, as the song said, Earl had to die. Like it's not like it was unwarranted, But yeah, that was the most fun I've ever had in a snowstorm lockdown. After that, though, I was always in a better part of the city, so that there were still things. Never ended up stuck inside for days and days after that when it would snow, unless I wanted to be. And there were things other than karaoke at the. It was that Chinese restaurant was so weird because it wasn't even like owned by like anyone from Asia. It was owned by like Mayo Sapien. So it was just a weird situation all around. I never quite grasped what was going on there. I mean, obviously some appropriation, but it was just odd. And the food didn't taste like your typical, even like, 'cause most Chinese, quote unquote, Chinese food we get in America is sort of adapted to our palates to be more pleasing and is not even, like, it's not like you would go to China and get Kung Pao chicken or whatever.
Right. You won't find a fortune cookie.
Yeah, right. So it was just, but even for that, it was like it was still off. I don't know. But the karaoke was great, and the Long Island iced teas were they were pretty good. So Goodbye, Carl. Goodbye, Carl. Hello, Carol. Good to see you. Agreed, Brooke. I think we do. I think there are a lot of channels that you can go to that are kind of the same channel with different people. And we love that for them. I watch some of I participate in some of those communities, like no shade here. But it is nice, in my opinion, there's sort of this side adventure side to ToyTube where it's people doing things that are slightly different, that aren't the same, and are approaching it from a, oh, I hate, it sounds so pretentious, but like rocks, like punk rock or whatever, but it's kind of how it feels sometimes, that there's this, it's the weird art, we're still the weird art kids, we're just doing it on YouTube with toys, and I'm okay with that. I enjoyed, and I didn't enjoy it so much when it got you bullied in high school, but I do enjoy now that I was a weird nerdy art kid in high school. It plays into my Molly Ringwald, my desire to be Molly Ringwald rather than Laura Palmer.
We've been watching Things to Do in San Fran since that trip is about to be upon us, and
Yeah.
every time they bring up, oh, visit Twin Peaks, I'm like, but who killed Laura Palmer?
Oh my God. Yeah, it's not the same Twin Peaks though.
No, it's not, but
All this.
I mean, there's a topless bar in Denver called Twin Peaks, and I say the same thing there too when we drive by. So
Well, if you're gonna have a topless bar, Twin Peaks is probably a good name for it. At least a little bit of truth in advertising, I would say, because there's at least 2 in there, right?
At least.
And so for the people who do watch this for sort of the more arty content, who are now getting all this comic book, Long Island Iced Tea, Ice Storm Stories stuff, a quick chime in on the Velium paper that I use, which is linked, show moment, which is linked in the description of this video through my Amazon affiliate link. I'm able to get some nice blends, but these are not Prismacolors. So any of the videos where people are like, they're just like Prismacolors, not accurate, close. And with a little pressure, I'm getting some nice blends. I'm getting some nice Prisma-like effects, but I'm having to work much harder to get those than I would with Prismacolors. So again, but for the price of these, they're a great set. And if you're not super bougie with the art side of all of this, you're not going to care. So definitely, if you're just wanting to get into some adult coloring or color more or color for yourself and not make videos to stick on the internet, these pencils are probably a good idea. So
yeah, I will say the one review I saw was favorable to Prisma for the money.
Yeah, like this is definitely budget Prismacolor, and I will say, despite sort of the extra effort I'm having to go to, the pigment, the actual colors are nice and vibrant, which is the main thing I enjoy about Prismacolor, other than how creamy and nice and fun they are. They're very pleasing to use Prismacolor. This I'm having to work a little harder, so there's a little less pleasantry about it, but the colors are really nice. I'm not sure how it's translating on screen, but I'm getting some really nice sort of colors and stuff. So the color side, the pigments are pretty nice. I'm not having to sharpen them as much. They're a little bit harder than Prisma, which again is good because it means you don't sharpen as much. So yeah, these are a good, this is a nice budget set. And I got mine for 17, but Chris got his for 7.
1070.
1070? Okay,
yeah.
So that's still for, I mean, I at $17, I am more than happy. So if you're looking to get a starter set for more serious work, or you just need a set to have fun, definitely, I think this Amazon 72 basic set is not going to steer you in the wrong direction. So, and I will probably I'm going to start doing a few tutorials. So I think I've already sort of got in mind a tutorial or two for using these pencils. So anyway, keep an eye out for that if that's why you come to my channel. And I know that some of you do. So, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you putting up with all the toy talk to get the art content that you're here for.
Speaking of toy talk, how is it that Steph Brown only has one Batgirl action figure? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a good question, Todd McFarland.
I mean, I have made a really nice, in my opinion, Steph Batgirl custom with McFarlane parts.
At this point, we have as many figures of McFarland as we do of Stephanie.
Right. Well, actually, I think there's more.
Are
McFarlane's, because I think he had one back when, and now he's got a new one.
Have you seen the Toy Farce? I don't know if Toy Farce himself made it or themselves. I'm assuming. I'm sorry, Toy Farce, if I've assumed your gender. I don't know if Toy Farce themselves made or if it was somebody, because they do both. They both make their own and then they share stuff. But there was a Jokerized Todd McFarlane figure that they shared that was pretty funny. I'll send it to you if you haven't seen it.
I think I've seen it because I'm actually on some Discords with Toy Farce.
Okay, so yeah, it had me howling because it was just pitch perfect, and it literally looks like what I expect the Jokerized McFarlane figure would look like. So
yeah. Fun fact: if it is the Toy Farce on those, kind of a fan of McFarlane toys. Strangely enough.
Well, I mean, if you do that sort of content, McFarlane gives you plenty of content. So
right,
I mean, I would be a fan too. I mean, if he made more female action figures in general, I would probably be more of a fan and able to overlook his NFT toys.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Like, stop trying to make fetch happen, Todd. There are people who love that though.
Target was just bugging me the other day, like, we couldn't pre-approve your red card for Cassandra Cain, and it's like, yes, you can. Still good. Knock it off. I think it's just my card got replaced between placing that order and now, and it's just being done.
Right. Carol, try them out, and if you end up liking them, like, let me know what brand they are, because I need more watercolor. I don't have really a lot of watercolor pencils in general, and that's something I want to branch out into more. So if you try them and you like them, just send me like a picture of the pencils so I can try to track them down. And Brick is saying Bay Area meetup, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. I need to text him at some point and kind of get that all scheduled out. Because I think Can of Toy Connections is in Sacramento that same time, so I think he's trying to go up there to visit him too. So I don't want to take up too much time.
How often are you going to the Bay Area, Chris?
This is the first time, and I don't know when I'm going back.
So worry less about taking up time and more about making the stars align so it can happen. Because it's not like you go every few months or something, or once a year even. Like, this is
well, that's just my mental health bit. I don't think of myself as being all that important to hang out with.
Oh, well,
that's all right.
You would not, if you weren't important to hang out with, you would not be here with me today coloring. Like, because I don't invite people to, like, I hope they're not watching, and if they are watching, I apologize. There is an individual who has messaged me like 17 times to ask when I'm going to have them on, and I have not seen any of those messages.
Oh no!
I have not seen any of those messages, so they have not been on yet. So if he is watching, he now knows that I have not seen those messages, and that's why it hasn't happened. I apologize. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty flexible. There aren't many people I would not have on here. It's just I need to feel like I can have a and that's the thing. I do need to feel like I can have a conversation with the person I have on here. And there are a lot of people that I've asked. I say a lot. There are like 4 people that I have asked that have been kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can make it work, and I take that to mean like they don't want to do it, and they're nice, so I've let it go. Because this isn't, for everyone. People have things around art. I should stop being a bitch and like answer those 17 messages and just have them on. I bet I'll have a great time. And I'm saying him in a general way. It may not be a him. It could be a her or a they. Trying to be discreet. I doubt they're watching this though. That's sort of been my hesitancy where it feels like based on some of the things they say where I don't know if they actually watch my stuff. So like, yeah. Anyway.
I have shunned a few people who've asked to work with me just because we don't agree on subjects, and I'm not going to lend my, while very minimally subscribed brand to their platform.
It's funny, it's funny what you keep saying, like minimally subscribed and whatever. My concept of your channel has always like every time you say I don't have that many people and I look at your subscriber, I'm always like, wait, what?
Okay, it's higher than I'm giving myself credit for.
But it is always, in my opinion, people can feel free to disagree with me in the comments. That helps engagement. It has always felt like your channel is huge. So whether maybe it's just I'm aware, like I can see through time is not a straight line. It's like flat, like Watchmen shit, where I can see where you are in like 2 or 3 years, and I just operate from that mindset. And so,
you know what? I will say this though, my channel gets me so much cred with my nephew, and like the connections I made through it. He's like, wait, a guy who was animating on Spider-Man? Like, yes, always use the Dole connection.
It's funny. I do have a friend who definitely does not watch my stuff. I can tell by the way he sometimes asks questions. He was asking me about some GI. He was like, "Oh my God, this GI Joe classified thing. I don't know what to do." And I'm not going to be more sort of. It was just GI Joe classified stuff, and I'm like, well, and it was something where I was able to say, well, Lawrence at Punk with Toys like says this. He's like, I watched that dude. I'm like, wait, you watch him and you've never seen me in the comments over there with the F. And, but he only watches the reviews. He doesn't watch any of the lives. And then I'm like, but you still haven't seen me in the comments? I literally am like always throwing sass. I don't read comments on the internet. I'm like, well, that's half of your problem.
Yeah, but that's a healthy lifestyle choice.
Probably, but at the same time. But he was like, I'm like, you need to go and watch his first Thursday with the Friend. I was the first guest on there, and he was more impressed by that than anything else I've ever done. And this is somebody I've known for almost 2 decades now. He was more impressed that Lawrence interviewed me on his first Thursday with the Friend than he was impressed than anything I've done in real life. So there you go.
I really appreciate Lawrence though for also being a short man in ToyTube, because we gotta stick together.
Well, not only that, but I mean, he has time to do his live shows every Monday and escape from Gargamel. I mean, it's a hazardous life that he lives.
We give him so much guff, and I am the exact same height.
Well, it's funny though, because we give him guff on it because he gives himself the guff. He's a really good whatchamacallit. He's good at like poking fun at himself, so it opens. Yeah, Matt just chimed in from the other side. He's a good sport. That's the word. I don't do sports ball, so I would never. But yeah, he's just a really good sport about it. So like Lawrence is good people. Like, and if you're interested in doing ToyTube stuff, Lawrence will give you advice. And it's obviously based on his experience and not always applicable to what you may be doing, but he's got good advice. And take the good and that works for you, and I don't know. He's part of sort of this little community that I feel like is, like I've built up, and like I am super appreciative of Lawrence and people I've met over in his chats and through his channel. Like, I don't know. I've been very lucky in my time on ToyTube that I've made friends and built community with really cool people who like are down with the idea of like collaboration and chatting and
I about lost it the other day because Toy Otter commented on my review of the Rocketeer action figures from the Long Box Heroes, and I'm like, shut up.
right. Well, he is like the designer of that, though, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's funny. Like, there's Cracktastic Plastic, I think is the channel. He did a review of some of the Rulers of the Sun, which I watch a lot of his reviews, but he did a review of the Rulers of the Sun that I watched a couple days after he posted it. And Wiley Easton commented in his was like his top comment where she was like, "Thank you so much for like your honest," and his review was good. It was like an honest review, and it was the pros and the cons and what he liked and didn't like. And literally, the creator of Sunman commented in the, thank you for your comments. Thank you for honestly reviewing the toy and being so enthused. It was amazing to see that. Especially Wiley Easton, like, because you would think she would avoid the comments.
Right.
Just because of how rude people have been in comment sections about Rulers of the Sun. So it was cool to see, and I was really happy for him, to get a cool comment from the creator of the characters.
Yeah, we've talked so much inside baseball about YouTube, but what you're saying, reaching out to creators and stuff.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah, spoiler alert, none of us are gonna say no to talk about YouTube, how it works, how we do it.
Yeah, right.
I think it's maybe like our second favorite thing to talk about, regardless of who you talk to.
Yeah, I mean, it's like once you start doing, once you get into the machine, like there's so much of your time is spent sort of dissecting the process that we all like to talk about it because we spend a lot of time thinking about it. So but yeah, so oh, you finished your other one. Let me see. Pull it back up. I put it main screen. Solo layout. There we go.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm pretty happy with that.
I really like I like the color choice for her costume. It looks really good.
Yeah,
it's a slightly darker gray than what they use in the comics, but I like that darker gray. It makes the purple pop a lot more, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, it was pretty much just blacked. It was me to go in and do a little bit of highlight,
Yeah. But that little bit of highlighting makes like a huge difference. Like it's one of the things people don't sort of get about sort of coloring in general. Like there are just little things you do that make all the difference and make your picture pop. Just little touches that you can do. So that looks really good. I like that. As you can see, I'm slowly making my way. I told you that this would happen. I picked two because I can finish this one, I bet, and then I never finish the first one anymore because I get too rusty with it.
Again, I'm very good at talking ill about myself. My color ability, while I'm really quite happy with, and it's much better than I thought it would be, not your level. You do some incredible pieces.
Well, thank you. I also spend a lot of time working on it, so like it's one of the things I do like about sort of adult coloring is no matter your actual artistic talent, most people can achieve really nice images with a little time and effort. So, um, especially if you have like there are some really good adult um, coloring book artists who make amazing stuff that is really designed in a way where it's like it's really hard to not do a good job with it, regardless of what your level is. So, yeah, I like that. I like that it's approach. And that's one of the reasons because I knew I wanted to do arty stuff with my channel, not just, I was like, I don't like doing figure reviews. I don't really like doing unboxings. Like, it all feels really weird for me to do. Like, I like watching those things, but doing them myself, not so much. But I knew, in the custom figure stuff, I need to do more of because I do love that. I just haven't quite figured out full way to that I want to do it in my style. I don't want to do a lot of people who do custom stuff in a certain way. That's great, but it just doesn't translate for me and my style. Still working on that, but I knew I wanted to do arty stuff. And when I realized all the old coloring books that I already had and the ones I wanted to buy, and realized like they're pretty accessible. Yeah, it was just one of those things where I'm like, people could actually, if they wanted to, get old coloring books and start being creative. And I would love to sort of get people on, and it's worked. I get messages from people buying coloring books who say, I haven't colored since I was 10. It's been awesome. So it kind of makes me feel good when I get it makes me feel good when I get those messages when it's like I've made somebody's day better, which is not something I say often. It's usually the opposite, especially because of the kind of work I do during the day. People aren't often happy to hear from me at my work. So it's kind of nice to have this sort of side thing where like people are actually getting something rewarding in their lives because of me. So anyway.
Well, and I loaded up on these coloring books because I thought my wife was going to be out of town longer than she was. So I'm like, I'm just going to color.
Well, it is really good for you. I mean, that's sort of where it all starts. Is it's the de-stressness of it, the relaxation. It's good, and it helps if you're needing to work on or maintain hand-eye coordination stuff. It's a good way to work on that. It's really low. Like, there aren't a lot of stakes to it, like unless you're putting it on the internet like I do. But if you're just coloring for yourself, if you mess up a picture, like nobody even has to know that happened. You can just go on with your day, turn the page, start another picture. So it's interesting to me how like Harley Quinn's costume is different depending on, even in the Tim, the early Tim days, like there were all these variances between the actual episodes and the comic books that she would appear in.
Well, of course, it's because she wasn't supposed to be anything more than a henchman.
Yeah.
Originally, So who cares, right?
Right. And I'm just saying it because it's like it's of all the characters I have a Harley Quinn page that'll hit sometime the next couple of weeks from a vintage animated series book. But of all the characters that I have done, Harley Quinn has been one of the ones that I am feel most apprehensive, like if I've messed up something on her, because she has such a really loyal fan base.
I think her popularity has died off a little
bit. I'm hopeful that she's not quite as big as she was.
Well, she
Just
was
sort
the
of,
DC Deadpool for a second there.
she kind of was for a really long time. She was sort of a character I didn't necessarily embrace right away because of the whole uh, abusive relationship with the Joker.
Right.
Like it was for me, that was like, huh, maybe not. But as they sort of moved her out of that and made her more, like more bisexual, I guess, is when she started liking Poison Ivy openly. And she, once they actually gave her the breaking, made her more of an anti-hero than a villain, is when I started sort of appreciating her. And so, all right. All right, so I'm gonna use this beige to give her face some highlights, but I don't necessarily like that, but it's what I got to work with. I keep wanting to grab my Prismacolors, and there's like a cream color that I could use there that pantomimes white a little bit better than the sort of peachy sand does. But I did make the rule when I said I was going to use the same set as you that I was not.
I won't hold it against you if you reach for the Prismacolor.
Oh, will hold it against myself. That was sort of the challenge I set forth to myself. Because last time I said I was going to do that, I still defaulted once or twice and grabbed something from the Prisma set. And I literally want to do this just with, and it's my own fault because I picked a picture with Harley Quinn knowing how much sort of white that she would need. But I think it's going to be okay. And this is sort of the nice thing about when I color on a live stream with a friend, is that this doesn't get a video the same way that other stuff does. So if there are sort of little mistakes, it doesn't play the same way as they would otherwise. So. All right. So blue eyes. I'm trying to I don't know, what should I do with the gun? Should I do the gun in red or should I do it pink?
I didn't even notice the realistic-esque revolver there in the back.
Yeah, it's way more realistic, and I don't want to do it like black or gray. I want to do it in a color, but I also don't want to do it red. And Harley Quinn, my thought was, well, it's Joker gun green, but Harley Quinn is green. I mean, Poison Ivy is green, so I want to do, I don't know.
Yeah, I looked up and expected, the giant pop gun.
Yeah, right? But it looks real, so...
Oh, those Batman adventures.
Oh, and I just realized I colored part of Poison Ivy's crossbow as if it was her hair. Oh, well.
I'm sure that happened in many an actual issues.
Yeah, that probably had to, the colorist of this cover artist probably had to.
Yeah, I know I mentioned this in conversation. This Red Robin cover, I had beef with. And it was that they colored Tim Drake's cape as Robin just yellow.
Just yellow.
Just yellow. That's a faux pas.
Well, maybe that's where McFarlane keeps getting it whenever he gets the capes wrong.
Could be. I'm sure
that cover is his one reference for
the only one he has.
Yeah, that's the only one he bought.
He's like, it's weird that there's only 2 characters on this cover, though.
Yeah.
This Robin and this more different Robin.
Why is the gender bent Batman from Earth G on here? That was my joke the one time, and one of my many, today McFarlane announced, and he did announce a Batgirl, but To be fair, Todd thinks it's Batman from Earth G, where everyone is gender bent.
Right. Well, that's, all those leaks that came out. There's like 4 female characters, and like 3 of them are re-releases, I think.
Right. See, look, he does female figures. It's like they're re-released. He already did those. He's not even repainting them, people.
Hey, that Wonder Woman is going to be black and white with gold accents. That's
There you go.
thing. Why, Todd?
Because what else would we talk about if Todd wasn't Todding?
Right.
All right.
It is actually funny how many times I've interacted with Todd McFarlane. I've gotten to chat with him like 2 or 3 times.
What is he like? Is he as obnoxious as we all imagine him to be?
Exactly that. It's not a character. I think that's who he is.
Oh, Todd. Other disadvantage, both Batgirl and Poison Ivy have red hair, so I'm gonna have to.
There are more redheaded characters in DC Comics than actual reality.
Hey, as a ginger, I'm okay with that.
I really can't say anything because the high school sweetheart, Ginger. My wife, Ginger.
Yeah, like just as a redhead. I was told more than once I was a witch because I had red hair, which could be true. I'm not discounting that, but you just don't want people to call that out in 3rd grade.
Wait a minute.
I'm trying to do arithmetic here and read my strawberry shortcake book, but well, Mrs. I'm not going to say her name. Trying to misbehave. Stop calling me a witch, or people will pay attention to me. I will turn you into a toad. Joke's on him. He already was a toad. Hello, Adam. Lovely. No worries. And well, I mean, it does help the engagement, but also like sometimes just I'm happy for people who enjoy lurking and listening. You know, it means the conversation is at least compelling enough that you can just lurk and listen. So. All right, so we were trash talking Todd McFarlane.
Yes.
Canada's favorite McFarlane.
Canada's favorite guy with a Brooklyn accent.
What is that, I wonder? Like, is it like how Madonna like has a transatlantic accent after she spent like a year in England married to Guy Ritchie?
Could be.
Like, did he spend time in Brooklyn at some point?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, this guy sounds tough and he's from Brooklyn, so I will say I'm from Brooklyn. I'm Todd McFarlane.
Mongor. Are you going to go to the Super 7 store when you're in the Bay Area?
Maybe. I'm trying to find like a cool toy store to go to.
Well, you need to be really specific when you say toy store and the Bay Area.
Okay. Well, okay.
Because there are toy stores that aren't action figure toy. Like
right. No, I'm aware. I made the joke one time with Kayla. I was like, you buy one toy from a new store and they won't shut up about their fuzzy cuff sales.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I went to the Bay Area one time and I was like, oh, what is this store? This is interesting. And then I was like, oh, interesting. That looks like fun for somebody that's not me. But I was a little bit too much of a rube at the time about, like, because before that, you just ordered everything through Adam and Eve and it arrived in a discreet mailer. Going into a store, ew. But it was pretty cool. It was cool to have that experience. I would do much better with it at this point in my life than I did then. I was way too embarrassed that all of this stuff existed and people can see that I'm acknowledging it exists. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was young man me going to the adult emporium here. Like, stop sassing me, transgendered clerk. I don't have time for this.
But I'm just trying to buy lubricant and get on my way.
No one can know I'm here.
I'm buying lubricant and 3 issues of jugs. Please, just let me be. No. I had a friend who used to work at the porn store, as she called it, and she would purposely, when a certain type of men would come in to buy stuff, she would make it as awkward as she could for him. Oh, so you have a girlfriend you're going to use this with, right? Oh, a wife? You're married? Oh, I would not have guessed that. Like, she would just. But they never got good reviews, so I did tell her at some point, I think maybe that's part of their kink, my friend, is you going into the store and having you insult them over their purchases and their lack of desirability.
Oh, I see you're buying the small size doll.
Right. You're buying ultra large. What? Oh, come on. You're not fooling anyone today, Carl.
Oh,
Carl.
fine.
Right. Yeah, she would do stuff like that. And like she had no problem. She was just like, why not? It's a good it's not my philosophy for working retail. So Brick says there's one in the East Bay that might be the most interesting. Slim pickings, though. And then Adam is working on the AWOC Kickstarter details. That sounds epic, Adam. What is AWOC again? Like, I've never heard of it, I don't think.
I feel like I've heard some people talk about it.
Yeah, well, you know, a wok. That's like what you cook stir fry in, right? A wok.
Oh, waka waka.
It is funny though. He mentioned wok, but he and Brick are already in chat, so it's not even Beetlejuice effect at this point. It's just there. Oh my goodness. Brick nailed it. Association of Women Carls. Yep, there you go. It's a good name for it. Woman Carl. That's so much better than Karen. Like a woman Carl. I have a friend, Karen, and she's like, I can't believe everyone uses my name that way. And I'm like, well, you know, they're not talking about you. And then in my head, I'm always like, but we kind of are, because you are kind of a Karen.
You're living the life.
She's literally the manifestation of why that has happened. I would not be surprised if she was ground zero, because she is unpleasant. She's so unpleasant that I won't, like, when she invites me to go eat, you know, she's like, we should go get lunch sometime. I'm like, oh, we'll make that happen. I don't go anywhere with people who are that rude to wait staff and to the hostess and to me when I'm sitting there trying to eat my overpriced penne and meat sauce. I mean, and I don't have to worry about her watching this because she definitely is not interested in anything I do in my life. So it's very much like, come have lunch with me, and then I get to listen to her whine about her kids and her husband and her mom, and I'm just like, you reap what you sow, Karen. You reap what you sow.
But yeah, it'll be fun to just get away, I think, from life.
Angry woman. Yeah, Bay Area is also really good for that. Like, there's so much to do there. It's overwhelming, actually. Like, I've gone many, many times and never hit all of the stuff I want to hit. It would help if I didn't keep going to the same Zodiac Killer kill sites every time I go, but it's just, like tradition, You gotta go see.
Right.
You gotta go see where it really happened and be secretly hoping that you find some clue that's been there for 60 years.
But you got to be working right now on the Wonka case, right? You're cracking
Oh
that one
my
right
gosh,
down.
right? Yeah, I've got 3 videos queued up for when, because when we wrap this up, I'll be having lunch, and I've got about an hour before Adam at Highly Articulated starts. And that time is going to be filled with lunch and watching Wonka videos because there are 2 or 3 deep dives that look like they're good. I mean, I don't know how anyone can really do a deep dive right now as early in this process as we are, but I believe I just need to consume as much of it as I can before it's not entertaining to me anymore because I know I shouldn't find joy in people getting scams like that, but there's just something hilarious to me about the entire process of it. Like the first time I read about how they were giving the kids a tiny glass of lemonade and a single jelly bean, I laughed so hard I almost wet myself. Because it's just so absurd. The whole thing is so absurd.
You
And
couldn't buy like a ton of Hershey Kisses. I mean, come on.
I know, right? The jumbo bag of even the knockoff brand Hershey Kisses, you could have I don't know. I sent it to I've been sending it. Muriel had not my friend Muriel, who some of you know from streams, and she'll be here in a few weeks. We're gonna do some strawberry shortcake and hang out. She had not heard about it, so I was sending her the link, and I sent her the first one that had the AI ad, and I'm like, okay, I need you to go to the third image with the bear. Please tell me what is going on with this bear. And she just comes back. She's like, well, the bear has Bussy, but it's in the front. So, and then I was like, oh, suddenly that teddy bear picnic song makes all the sense. Like behind the trees where nobody sees, that's the place the teddy bears have their picnic. It's because of that bear Bussy. So anyway. And if you're watching this and you don't know what Bussy is, do not Google it. Do not Google it.
Or at least put your browser incognito mode. Make sure no one's around.
Yeah, do not Google it in front of your kids.
If anyone asks, it's a professional wrestling tag team. It's Effie and it's Allie Catch.
Well, also it was the bus for a while in Alaska. The Alaska Transit Center about 2 years ago did an overhaul where they created a fun, whimsical mascot for their bus that was named Bussy.
Like you do.
And they didn't understand why it was going viral and why people found it hilarious. I'm like, if you're naming a mascot and you're spending it's Alaska, so I'm going to assume at least $500 was spent of the city budget. You at least need to Google the name of your mascot with safe search off to make sure that you're not naming, I mean, they named him Bussy, and I can't even, literally cannot even, cannot. It was a good howler too. It didn't last as long as this Wonka situation has gone, but it was a couple days, especially because I had several. Like Matt is from well, he's not from. He lived in Alaska for a long time, so he enjoyed that story extra also. And then a couple of my friends from Alaska, and they're like, "Yeah, that's pretty much how it is in Alaska. You've got people making these decisions that don't know stuff."
The kids are gonna love Bussy.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. I mean, it just writes itself once. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was did you ever watch Mr. Show on
I watched
HBO?
some of it. I didn't watch it every episode.
Well, the episode when they're pitching a mascot named Pit Pat. And so like they would show these like awful, like terrible commercials, and then it would end and like, I love you. It's Pit Pat. And so it's like, what was that? It's Pit Pat. Everybody loves Pit Pat. Like, no, but before that.
Right. Oh my goodness. The beige. Oh, put the Yoda fountain at Lucasfilm HQ on your list. And the Disney Family Museum is around there, as is Heroes Club. A mostly
All right.
6. Yep, there you go.
There we go. I could use all the
See,
ideas.
Black Phoenix is here for our marketing reinforcements. You were probably the task group for those people in Alaska when they're like, do you think the kids will love Bussy? And they pinged Black Phoenix and I'm like, hey, will you check out this campaign? And Black Phoenix was like, I love Bussy.
Can't get enough of that Bussy.
And they were like, it's a winner, kid. It's a winner, baby. Suddenly the person in charge of marketing and ads is doing a Frank Sinatra impression. Oh my God. See, this is why I was happy when you agreed to be here, Chris, because I knew. And theory, we were going to talk, and we did. We talked plenty of DC Comics stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But here we are at the end of, we're nearing the end of the stream, and we've ended up in Bussy Town.
I mean, I did color in Tim Drake, and we had that conversation.
Yeah,
so...
we did. Like, we've had, it has been a journey. You come for the Batgirl, you get the Bussy. Yeah, no, wait. Anyway. The 3 church ladies who follow me are going to listen to this tomorrow because they're at church right now and they're going to be horrified because they're going to Google it.
They're going to look up what Bussy is.
And they're not going to put safe search on so that they get like the Urban Dictionary at the top of the page. So I apologize, Maxine and Sylvia. Consider this me helping you be more worldly. Art makes you think. Oh my God. Yeah. See, this is why I can't really be on ColorTube because this combo would not fly. But on ToyTube, it's fine. Like,
you know, I'm sure this is exactly the kind of edgy content ColorTube could use.
No, it is. There is not a lot of edgy content over there. So, and that's kind of why I actually, and I say that's part of why I like my ColorTube spaces and why I don't really sort of cross the streams. You know, like I don't do a lot of promotion over there. I haven't built community the same way over there that I have in ToyTube. Like I don't send my links to them. I don't ask them. I use one of my many one of my many YouTube accounts to comment and subscribe and do all of that so that it's sort of a space away from all of this. But because it is, there are a lot of gentler conversations and
yeah, but there's room for Alice and Troy, the bad girl of coloring.
Right, the bad girl of coloring. We're going to talk Batgirl, Bussy, and Bodacious Tatas today.
So I'm watching the most recent season of Superman and Lois is confronted with a double mastectomy in her life.
No.
And so to celebrate, her and Lana Lang are going to go to Bazinga's, that universe's version of Hooters.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And Superman, being sweet Superman, is like, oh, that's why people go.
He's got X-ray vision. He should probably not go to Bazinga's.
He doesn't need to.
Yeah, right. And then he might actually also see what's in the chicken wings. So,
you know, maybe at this point, like the X-ray vision he's just over it.
You would think, like, And the first time you saw like through somebody and you saw like their guts grinding food into excrement, you would probably be like, I don't need X-ray vision anymore. Like, I think that's the point I would be done. Or the first time like your X-ray vision showed you like the interior of someone's refrigerator and they have like eggplants in there, I would just be like, I'm out. I can't. No more eggplant. Well, at least we're entertaining Brooke, so that's
Yeah.
good. And Black Phoenix, of course. Alex is always. That's a good question, Brooke. I've wondered that too. Wasn't there? Didn't they sort of play on that with Watchmen a little bit?
Yes. Well, kind of. That was a plot to make Dr. Manhattan question himself because his first girlfriend died of cancer or something.
Right.
As long as no one goes Spider-Man Rain with it, I think that'd be okay.
What's Spider-Man what?
Rain?
I'm not familiar with that. Please.
Like legitimately, before I go all dumb, like explaining something.
I have not. Like, I'm not as in depth on Spider-Man, Marvel in general.
Okay, so it was a comic book that was supposed to be like kind of like the Dark Knight Returns of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Where he's an old man and he's visiting the grave of Mary Jane because it turns out she died of cancer from his irradiated sperm.
Oh no! Oh, yikes!
Yeah. Turned out they maybe went too edgy.
Yeah, it's a little too edgy. Even though in my head I'm already singing Spider Sperm instead of Spider-Man. So there's that. Yeah, no. Okay, so now that song is stuck in my head. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Oh no.
You know, it's what I'm here for. It apparently now is just to ruin people's day.
Well, you know, we all have our jobs in life, and that's not a bad one because some people need their days ruined. So.
Right. Well, it's like when I was talking Clone High on the Discord.
But it's not that it ruined my day, it has just changed the trajectory of my day. And not necessarily even bad. Who knows where Spider Sperm will lead?
Right.
Hopefully not where it led for Mary Jane in that story, but you know.
Right. Oh, you know, I really loved the Batman the Animated Series style art so much more than the New Adventures.
Yeah, for me, like there was a subtle shift in the animation, and like I didn't like the difference of it. Like the animated series was just spot on. It was perfect. I remember setting the VCR to record it so I would never miss an episode, and then having stacks and stacks of tapes.
We finally got Fox just like right about the time it premiered.
Yeah.
So I remember like running home from school to watch it.
No, it was pretty well. I mean, like, you know, like it when it was on Sundays still, like Sunday nights, like that. Like I was in from day one. I had really liked Batman Returns as well. So
man, talk about a movie that plays differently as an adult.
Oh,
Batman Returns.
Oh yeah, it has a completely different vibe now. Although it came out that was one of the first movies I saw after I graduated high school. It came out like that summer, I think. I think it was a summer movie.
Okay, so you were old enough to enjoy the adult content of it?
Oh yeah, I went around the next Christmas at a party with the second Carl, and I was like, mistletoe is deadly if eaten. But he was too stupid to get it, so I was just then like, God dang it, you are not the nerd I'm looking for. But
Yeah, so
dude,
Batman Returns came out in 92. I was 9.
yeah, that was my senior year. I graduated high school in 1992.
So yeah, it's one of those funny things that like age differences are a much bigger deal at that point,
Yep,
and now
that's
just
true.
silly. My wife is 7 years my senior,
Okay. Yep.
and not a deal now in life, but the joke is she was in high school scoping out the elementary school playground, going, "That's the one."
That's the one. I just need him to get a little older. No, yeah, that was the first thing. And my great grandmother passed the night I graduated high school. It was like, congratulations, welcome to the real world. Great grandma is dead. Um, so no trip to Florida for Allison to get drunk with all of my friends. We get to go to funerals and see all of the family I don't like. Although somebody brought a banger salad to the wake, I will say that. I still think about that. It was a layer of iceberg lettuce, which when you hear like iceberg lettuce, you're like, I cannot. But hear me out. There's a layer of iceberg lettuce, and then a layer of crispy bacon, then a layer of tomatoes, a layer of black olives, and then a layer of Miracle Whip. And then it just repeated until the end where there's a layer of Miracle Whip. And although it should have been grotesque because that sounds pretty gross, it's literally like that everyone's so creative lady would like make fun of this in a video. It was pretty good. Or maybe it was just grief eating. But
Yeah, there's something to be said about grief eating.
It was delicious, and I ate a lot of it because it's obviously inexpensive to make, and there was a lot of it at that wake. Like the lady who brought it brought like 5 giant like vats of it to the wake, and I ate probably a vat on my own. Which, I was really hungry because I'd been starving myself for weeks so that I could fit into swimwear on the trip to Florida that never happened. So,
yeah, I remember my mother's funeral. My wife and I were just kind of over like the group vibe. So we went to like, a teppanyaki place. My cousin's like, "Where are you? Why aren't you at the deal?" Like, "Oh, we're here." Like, "Son of a bitch, that's good."
I need to eat, yeah.
Like, I want to have a meal. I want to have.
When one of my uncles passed, the funeral home was across the street from this amazing Greasy Spoon Diner. And nothing is better when you're mourning your late uncle than lots and lots of waffles with whipped cream and strawberries on top.
All right. So just to reiterate, we've covered DC Comics, Todd McFarlane action figures, bisexuality, adventures in adult toy stores, Bussy, and now funerals.
And how to eat well at funerals. That is a channel waiting to happen. Like, eating sad because your family is dying. Well, eat well. Here's the top 10 funeral foods you have to have a successful period of grieving.
But only if you do it like over the top, like Twitch streamer, like, "Hey, it's your boy. I'm here to show you how to eat well at a funeral."
And then you've got to get that fog. What is it? The fog, the sound blaster
Yeah.
thing you use. I don't know. I don't do sports. So.
Yeah. But everybody's grieving clearly, and you've just lost it.
7 or 70 years. 7.
7.
Oh, okay, you already got that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. No. I like them near the grave, is what 70 would say.
Well, like depending on what the finances are like, that could be advantageous. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are at the little bit over 2-hour mark. So we should probably wrap. Well, we're gonna wrap it up because I need to eat lunch. I'm almost finished. I still need to do her skin and her cowl and her belt and stuff. I'll do that off stream. And I'll post it to Instagram for everyone to enjoy. And I'll tag you. And if you could do the same, take a picture,
Yep,
tag me on
absolutely.
IG. Um, let's make sure. Okay, yeah, we're caught up on chat. And I want to thank you, Chris. This has been so much fun. You'll definitely be back. We'll do some more DC. Well, we have that total justice stuff we have to go
Oh,
over.
absolutely.
In the meantime, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, I can be found at none other than Shiny Plastic People.
Oh,
I
Mark.
have no actual schedule. I'm just chaotic. I've been doing a lot of shorts about McFarlane Toys news as it happens. So check that out if you would like.
So, in other words, subscribe and set the bell notification so you can be alerted anytime Chris releases new content. See, I'm getting it.
You're very good at it.
I'm getting there, yeah. Except when it's my own, then I fumble and sound ill prepared to pay. Anyway, and obviously you know where to find me because you're watching this. But tomorrow's Monday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have a premiere of a coloring video where I'm coloring some pages I've made from an old vintage Masters of the Universe poster book. It's one of the first non-Mattel Masters of the Universe items released. If you would, yep. And luckily, Adam at the Battle Ram blog, who is amazing, and it's an amazing site, has really nice scans of all of the giant posters. And I have done the thing where I printed them out on paper this size, so that because the giant paper, how is that going to fit on my camera? So I can put it on the internet so people can witness me do it. It's too big for YouTube. It's like a bussy, in fact. But yeah, I printed it out on paper, and I'm gonna color all of the pages from it. And the first video lands tomorrow at 5:30. It's a premiere. I'll be in chat. You should join me. Daily shorts. And Friday there is a new color and chill. And I forget what this week is. So. Could be Skeletor, could be not Skeletor. Either way, Color and Chill coming on Friday. And then next Saturday, I will have another vintage toy catalog. And I believe this week is going to be Glamour Gals year 2. So,
And even though we weren't in subject, it is Mermania.
oh yeah, right? Yeah, Mermania starts now. We should talk about that quickly. It really has been 2 hours already, Alex. I know, time just flies when Bussy is on the table. You as well, Tony. Yeah, Mermania March. Hashtag. So you should make some, if you are a content creator watching this, you should make some content with either Merman from Masters of the Universe or Aquaman or Namor or any other aquatic hero or villain that you like. Let's give those mermen some love. No Mira. Plus, you don't want the Amber Heard comments in your comment section. So, nobody needs that. So anyway, yeah. So Mermania, hashtag Mermania. And if you have any questions about Mermania, you can contact me on Instagram at Allison_of_Troy. Or leave a comment on the video and I will reply to you and with all the deets. In the meantime, yep, there we go. There are all the hashtags. Tides of March. That one's really good. You came up with that one, right? The Tides of March?
Yeah, I was just like, wait, isn't the Ides of March something?
See, this is why you're an asset, Chris. You think of the things nobody else thought of that are brilliant. So anyway, join us on the hashtag if you want to make some Mermania content. In the meantime, I'm Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess, and I'm out.